Oklahoma, Mr. Lucas is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and actually I think my timing for my question is perfect. Chairman Powell, I'd like to discuss with you today an issue that is of significant concern to me and many of my colleagues. The SEC's regulatory agenda has more than 50 significant proposals that are currently underway or approaching a final vote. These rules cut across every asset class under the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission's jurisdiction. The sheer complexity and volume of these overlapping rulemakings could negatively impact markets and the public that depends on them. SEC Commissioner Hester Peirce, warned that the speed and character of these rulemakings could create dangerous conditions in our capital markets. Now, this is against a backdrop of the U.S. economy facing significant challenges. We've discussed that all morning. Inflation at more than a 40-year high, with substantial increases in the cost of food, housing, and gas prices at record prices. Also, supply chain backlogs and labor shortages continue to weigh on the economy, with consumer and business confidence plummeting. And of course, we're still studying the impact of the global pandemic and the consequences of the ongoing Russian invasion of the Ukraine. In Oklahoma, small businesses, farmers, ranchers are navigating through surging energy prices and volatile agricultural markets for inputs like grain and fertilizer. Poor crop conditions and high commodity prices are expected to worsen the situations throughout the summer and into the rest of the year. In uncertain times like this, market participants need to seek to protect their retirement savings, to hedge risk, and to safeguard their livelihoods. A top priority should be supporting liquid markets to protect the U.S. economy from the face of these substantial headwinds. I know you don't comment on other entities within the federal government. I know these regulations that are going to have such a tremendous impact are not coming from your area, but unfortunately I'm concerned that the magnitude and the significance of rule-making proposals coming out of the SEC in such a short amount of time runs counter to the goal. We know that regulatory uncertainty creates adverse market environment for economic growth and market stability. So, Chairman Powell, I'll not ask you to comment on the SEC, but could you speak to the importance of market liquidity during periods of economic uncertainty?
Yes, so markets are there to, one of the things they do is process information and consider the implications of it, and it's critical that markets be liquid enough to do that. And if that happens, then financial conditions can adjust and equity prices of various kinds can adjust. And that's one of their big functions, is to do that, and to absorb news, sometimes very difficult news, in a way that preserves stability.
I think Congress and the public should have the opportunity to fully grasp the impact of the SEC sweeping proposals. If we really want to tame inflation, we should begin by not making the current situation worse. The SEC's approach will rattle markets during a time when strong capital markets are essential to our economic growth and our constituents back home. After all, you're working hard on the demand side of the equation, but we in Congress and the administration should help with the supply side of the equation. And that is not making it more difficult to invest in and create more goods and services in this country. That said, Chairman Powell, as you've acknowledged, the Fed's monetary policy tools can do very little to mitigate rising gas prices. However, the increased cost of gas has an oversized impact on consumer inflation expectations. Folks see the price at the pump going up and experience the price per gallon at an all-time high. Could you discuss how the Fed envisions its ability to rein in inflation expectations, driven in large part by gas prices? Or put another way, if gas prices remain at record levels, is an aggressive response from the Fed all but guaranteed?
Well, if gas prices remain at the current levels they're at, then inflation, the problem is inflation means continuing to go up. So it isn't so much the level as the rate of change, as you know. So I think we are mindful that even though these things are outside of our control, the gas prices and food prices for the most part, that adds a little bit of urgency in our wanting to get our rates into a place where we're addressing inflation directly, because the public reacts to all kinds of inflation, not just core inflation. Our tools generally go to core inflation. So, we don't think we can use our tools to change energy prices, but we do think that they add to our desire to get expeditiously to the appropriate levels.
And clearly, Congress and the administration, the majority, has a responsibility to increase supplies of resources, not discourage that. Yield back, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.